United Cup, Day 4 Preview. Iga Swiatek debuts, while Coco Gauff and her serve face a new foe. Plus, big men's matches include Ruud vs Mensik, Zverev vs Hurkacz, and Fritz vs Munar. Stan Wawrinka may be wondering what he got himself into when he announced his 2026 retirement tour. At this rate, it may not last until the end of January. Over the last 2 nights in the United Cup, the 40-year-old has played 2 marathon 3-set matches against significantly younger opponents. He won the first over Arthur Rinderknech, 7-6 in the third, and almost won the second against 23-year-old Flavio Coballi, before finally running out of gas at the finish line and falling by the same score. Elsewhere, it was a fairly one-sided night in the team competition. Germany beat the Netherlands 3-0, Canada beat China 3-0, Great Britain beat Japan 2-1. The most notable non-stand result may have been Naomi Osaka's second straight defeat to 276th ranked Katie Swan, who was filling in for an injured Emma Raducanu. What's next in Sydney and Perth? Here's a look at Monday's lineup. Stan, it seems safe to say, will be happy to have the night off. Who's playing who? Czechia vs Norway, 10:30 a.m. local time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Germany vs Poland, 5:30 p.m. local time, 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Perth. USA vs Spain, 10 a.m. local time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Great Britain vs Greece, 5 o'clock local time, 4 a.m. Eastern Time. Who to watch? Jakub Mensik vs Casper Ruud. The 20-year-old Mensik is one of the bigger question marks of the coming season. Will he be the guy who won a Masters 1000 in Miami, or the guy who failed to make another semifinal the rest of the year? He'll start his 2026 with a high-profile encounter against Ruud, who looked good in a win over Alex de Minaur 2 nights ago. Mensik won their only previous meeting at the Australian Open last year. Alexander Zverev vs Hubert Hurkacz. The Pole returns to the court after knee surgery ended his 2025 early. Zverev leads their head-to-head 3-1. Iga Swiatek vs Eva Liss. On paper, Swiatek should have a smooth start to her new year. She has played Liss 3 times and surrendered just 7 games in total. But the 23-year-old Ukrainian German is improving. Coco Gauff vs Jessica Buzas Monero, round 2 for Coco, and her serve should get a proper test. The American and the 40th-ranked Spaniard have never played. Taylor Fritz vs John Munar. This should be an interesting stylistic clash between server and grinder. Fritz won their only meeting in a 3rd-set tiebreaker in Indian Wells, back in 2022. Maria Sakkari vs Emma Raducanu. Stick a question mark by Raducanu's name. She pulled out of her match on Sunday with a lingering foot issue, and may or may not be ready for this one. Whoever she faces, Sakkari will be looking to back up her impressive straight-set win over Naomi Osaka in her opener. United Cup, Day 4 Preview. Iga Swiatek debuts, while Coco Gauff and her serve face a new foe. Day 4 of the United Cup arrives with the hush-before-the-storm feeling that only great tennis can bring. The courts are freshly swept, the flags ripple in the Australian breeze, and the tournament's early rhythm, part experiment, part promise, begins to harden into something sharper. This is the day the contenders stop circling and start declaring. This is the day Iga Swiatek steps onto the United Cup stage. And it is the day Coco Gauff, carrying the thunder of her serve, meets a challenge that doesn't flinch. The United Cup is tennis in stereo, nations instead of individuals, momentum shared across singles and mixed doubles, pride braided with pressure. By day 4, the novelty has worn off and the stakes feel real. Every point echoes twice, once for the player, once for the team bench buzzing behind them. It's a format that rewards not just brilliance, but balance. And it's into this atmosphere that 2 of the sport's brightest stars step, each carrying a different kind of expectation. The arrival of Iga Swiatek. When Iga Swiatek debuts, the air seems to compress around the baseline. Her presence has a way of simplifying the complex. Footwork, timing, margin. She turns these into quiet certainties. There's no wasted movement, no extra thought. Swiatek's tennis is a language of clarity, spoken fluently and without hesitation. Yet the United Cup adds a new accent. This isn't the solitary march through a Grand Slam draw. This is a team event, where glances toward the bench matter and momentum can swing on a teammate's result. Swiatek has thrived under pressure before. Thrived might even be an understatement, but the shared responsibility introduces a different texture. Here, composure isn't just personal, it's contagious. What makes her debut compelling isn't the question of whether she'll impose herself, but how. Will she lean immediately into her heavy topspin forehand, carving the court open and daring her opponent to keep up? Or will she probe first, using depth and discipline to test resolve? Swiatek has always been a master of adaptation, and Day 4 offers her a live canvas. There's also timing. Early season tennis can be tricky, bodies still calibrating, instincts sharpening after the off-season pause. Swiatek's game, built on precision and patterns, often looks tournament-ready from the first ball. If she finds her rhythm quickly, her debut could feel less like an introduction and more like a reminder: the standard has arrived. Coco Gauff and the weight of a weapon. Across the draw, Coco Gauff steps into a different kind of spotlight. Her serve, once a promising tool, now a headline act, has evolved into a genuine weapon. It's not just the speed, it's the intent. The toss is confident, the motion streamlined, the result often unreturnable. In a format where quick holds can tilt the energy of an entire tie, that serve matters. But Day 4 introduces a new foe, not merely an opponent across the net, but the kind of return game that refuses to be rushed. This is the test that separates power from authority. Big serves thrive on doubt, great returners thrive on belief. Gauff's challenge will be to keep her serve unpredictable, to resist the temptation of going bigger when smarter might suffice. What's fascinating about Gauff at this stage of her career is her willingness to evolve in public. Every match feels like a workshop as much as a performance. She's learning how to build points behind the serve, how to trust her first strike without abandoning patience. Against a player who reads patterns well, those decisions become magnified. The United Cup amplifies this learning curve. A double fault isn't just a personal misstep, it's a sigh from the bench, a quick clap of encouragement, a reminder that recovery matters as much as execution. Gauff's resilience has long been one of her defining traits. Day 4 will ask her to deploy it not after setbacks, but between points, in the small choices that decide service games. Styles in conversation. What makes this day so intriguing is the contrast. Swiatek's game speaks in paragraphs, long, structured rallies that wear opponents down. Gauff's serve speaks in exclamation points, short, emphatic bursts that seize control. Both approaches can dominate, both can falter if misapplied.